Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you are hearing us today. Welcome to this live interview. Today, I have a very big honor to have two special ladies with us. It's the first time that we're going to broadcast an interview. And as you know, in Guapalita, we like to share stories, we like to share information, we like to share knowledge because it's important to be updated, it's important to interact, and it's important to connect. And today I would like to introduce first the lady who is going to participate as the interviewer. And I met her a long time ago. I think that perhaps like 3-4 years. I don't remember exactly, maybe more, maybe 5 years. And it was on an occasion when we were attending the same course at the university. And we realized that we are birthday sisters. And today it pleases me to receive her as the interviewer, as the official interviewer of this interview. And her name is Isabel Osuna Montilla. Isabel, welcome today. Isabel comes from Spain and right now she's in Germany. And Isabel will give us the honor to interview our guest speaker today, who is also a very fantastic lady who I also had the opportunity to meet first online and then to meet in person. And that day when we met each other, I think that a couple of years ago, I can say that I spent a very fantastic time, quality time with her. And that's why I said Isabel to propose her as our first guest speaker. And her name is Glaucia Peres da Silva. Glaucia, welcome to our channel, and welcome to our community. And well, we are going to enjoy on the next 30 minutes wonderful interview with these two ladies. And I'm so curious to learn about you, Glaucia, and also from you, Isabel, even though I learn more. I have learned more. Okay, so Isabel, the stage is all yours. I want to remove myself from here, and but I'm going to be here behind. Welcome both, and thank you for being here.
Great. Thank you so much, Aide. It is such an honor to be here and such an honor to interview you, dear Glaucia. So just a bit of information for our audience. You are a sociologist with a focus on music and politics, and you have been part of the German scholarly scene since 2009. You also published your dissertation in 2016 in German, but the English translation could be How Does the Global Order Sound Like? The Emergence of a Market for World Music. And since 2020, you have been part of the University of Tübingen, co-coordinating the program Global Awareness Education in the Transdisciplinary Course Program. And if you allow me, I would like to start from that point. So let's start from there. I love the term awareness. I think we should all become more aware to what is happening in our surroundings. And I want to ask you, how would you describe to be globally aware? What does it mean to you? And what current topics should we consider in order to achieve a global consciousness?
Oh, Isabel, at first I would like to thank you so much for your kindness. You and Idili are very, very nice to have me here. So I'm very happy to be invited. It's an honor also to me to know that my story can be interesting for someone. So, well, about my work at the University of Tübingen, of being globally aware, I think it's something not that easy to define because I cannot say that it might be restricted to some topics. The idea is that we try to recognize where are the limits of our knowledges or the references we use and try to go beyond. So it happens to me too, right? It's not because I am working in that area that the problem is solved. For me, I still learn a lot and want to learn more. And to be sure that whenever we find that the limit or we think that the world is broad enough for us in that size And then we recognize, no, there's something more to learn. So that's the idea. And for me, maybe the most important motivator to work in this area is to think about this really global solidarity and to change power relations. Although I know that I'm just like very small and the contribution I can make is also almost insignificant, but I would say even though I'll keep trying and helping students and colleagues that work with us in this collective effort to try to be more equal, more solidary, and yes, in this idea of global cooperation and working together. So I think that's my motivation.
I love it, Glaucia. Thank you so much. You said some words that really resonated with me, such as like global solidarity. I also love the idea of like going beyond our limits and knowing that there's a plurality of knowledges with us and that we have to be open to them and also push our limits to obtain them to get there. And I think it's a really conscious effort also, but it's good to be aware that you have to do
Yes.
the effort and pushing yourself forward. I love that you mentioned that. And also our personal contribution, right? Like how even though you feel is that even significant for me, just an individual doing this, but each of us doing things in our own circles, on all places, I believe, we can achieve great things. So really, really inspiring. We are starting, we are starting strong. So let's move on now to a more personal question, and that is your personal journey from the vibrant Sao Paulo to the ruhig quiet Tübingen. So how was it? How was this transition from you? What did it mean to you? And how like which are the things that you have gained along the way, but also what did you have to leave behind?
Yeah, it's not an easy journey. I think you know what I'm talking about. But I can say that for me, I was motivated by the adventure of being in another country, of learning something new and discovering, yeah, a new language, a new way of thinking and organizing. And at that point, when I first came to Germany, I was in my second bachelor studies. I studied communication and then I started again with social sciences. And that's when I came to Germany for the first time as an exchange student. And for me at that time, I would say now I had a more colonized mind. I don't know if I'm still colonized, but at that time I was just like, oh, I'm going to the center of the knowledge production. I will be there. And then when I arrived, I was with mixed feelings, I can say. On the one hand, I was somehow disappointed because I just thought, well, it's not difficult for these students here to be smart because they have at hand all the books, all the publications they want. So they have lots of information. So it's, of course, easy to produce good papers, let's say like that. And I was looking back at my colleagues at the University of São Paulo in Brazil. And that's one of the biggest, and it's a great university in Brazil. But we struggled a lot with access to texts that are international and so on. So I was thinking, my colleagues, they do a great job with much less information. So if I could give my colleagues this amount of information, they are going to blossom. So that was my feeling. So I remember that I came back to Brazil very motivated, very engaged. I wanted to translate things. I wanted to do something. And actually, what I ended up doing was engaging in courses of, I don't know if I say the word in English correct, but I was working in social projects to teach adults to read and write. And it was an amazing time. an amazing time, because that's when I discovered the power of education, I could say, for myself. When you see these adults being discriminated, people making jokes about them because they take the wrong bus, they cannot go home exactly as they wish because they cannot read the names of the bus, and this kind of problems, or having problems with the children who could read and they lie to the parents. And then you see these adults getting empowered and say, no, you're lying to me, I can read this word now, and that's not what you're telling me. Or I don't have problems now going home because I take the right bus, and so on. So it's so encouraging to see the power of transformation. As I mentioned before, you don't transform the whole city, but I would say this couple of lives, I definitely contributed to some change. And it was rewarding because they were teaching me to this academic humbleness, to be humble and to learn that it's not because we are at the university that we are better than the others. And if I'm not able to help people around me, what for? What is the reason for me to be working? So when I came to the second time in Germany, I knew what was expecting me. And then I had the feeling that I would come to stay, let's say like this. So I was doing my PhD. So I came the first time to Berlin, and then to to do this exchange year. And then I came to the second time again to Berlin. And so I would say it wasn't that real shock, right? Because I was coming from a big city and living in a big city, although Berlin is smaller than Sao Paulo and calmer than Sao Paulo. But it was the best Germany could give me, right? And it was a great time. It was a really great time. And I remember having so many different experiences and learning a lot, and learning so many different people and so many different scholars. And it was amazing. But then when the PhD is done, it comes to the big question: what do you want to do in your life? Do you want to stay in Berlin because it's a fascinating city? Or after so much efforts writing this PhD, do you want to keep your career alive, and do you want to follow that? So I was in this dilemma for a while. And I remember that I didn't have a scholarship anymore, so I was having difficulties to leave. And I decided to stick to my career, because I said, well, I can stay in Berlin, but if I have a job that does not satisfy me, am I going to be happy anyway? So I decided in my case that no, I wouldn't be happy. So I started looking for jobs. It was a long journey, as for many people. And then I went to Duisburg. And I remember that while I was living in Berlin, for me, Germany was a kind of, I was believing in the Berlin fantasy, let's say like that. And as I was in touch with many people that were helping NGOs in foreign countries, I believed that the social problems in Germany were solved, right? So for me, it was just like, I'm going to another city, but it would be, I don't know, somehow similar. And it was not at all. Duisburg is a very different city, very different from Berlin. And I remember that in the moment when I started telling my friends or the people that I knew in Berlin, oh, I'm leaving Berlin to live in Duisburg, many people couldn't believe that. They were just like, what? Why are you doing that? And some people really told me I wouldn't. And I said, well, but that's where I got the job, and why not? So I went to Duisburg, and it was also, again, a very interesting situation. It was somehow similar to the city where I come from, because it's an industrial area. So São Paulo is also an industrial city in the region. So I had some similarities to relate to in the new environment. Although, again, it's a very different environment, but I could relate to that. And then there I also find my way more related to education than to research. So although I was researching, I was publishing my papers and still researching about music, musicians' careers, I got strongly interested in doing projects with the students. And there the motivation was very clear. The region is full of migrants, and many of them suffered some form of prejudice, I would say. I heard from colleagues, for example, oh, the students here are not good enough. You have to, oh, you're coming from Berlin, you have to lower your level of expectations because, the people from the region. So there were lots of prejudice. And me and my colleague, Laurens Lauer, we decided to go against that and take profit of the knowledge that the students were bringing with them to do projects with them in the neighborhoods. So we were thinking how to do that. And there is one neighborhood there that is famous in the whole country in Germany called Maxloh, as if it was a ghetto. And I would say for us from Latin America, a German ghetto is still a German ghetto, right? So it's nothing similar to the favelas that we know in any sense. I mean, there are some similarities, but it's still much different. And so we were taking students there to do the projects, and it was just fascinating. I just loved this kind of experience. And I was happy. I was happy to live there. I was happy to do these projects. I was happy to visit this neighborhood, to engage there. So I started knowing people there. So it was a very nice time. But as I think you can imagine, we in Germany, we don't have contracts that are long-term, let's say, for postdocs. So you have a limited time. You have around 6 to 8 years to get a job. Otherwise, you are out. And I was in the end of this period when I got the position in Tübingen. So I would say I came from the big city, São Paulo, and I came always to smaller cities in Germany. So I'm now in a very small city for my perimeters. Tübingen, when they say 90,000 inhabitants, I mean, they are counting still some things around. So, I mean, it's a really small place. And when I see this journey, I would say, of course, we leave many things behind. Every time we move, we leave something behind, right? We cannot take everything, but we gain a lot when we move. So I keep mobile. Although now I have a good contract, I can say if I want, I could stay here forever, but I never know. I keep myself open for new challenges, in the sense when the challenges come, I take them. And that's what I think make life interesting. And yes, so the friends, the real friends, and the family, all these friends that we learn to love, they keep in touch with us. They're there, right? Whenever I go to Brazil, there's a group of people that I meet. Every time when I go to Berlin, there's this group of people that I meet. When I go back to Duisburg, there's also, I mean, so you have to also get used to the idea that you're never going to have all your friends in one room. It's impossible. But yes, for me, it's a very positive journey.
Yeah, Glaucia, how beautiful. The sentence you said, we gain a lot when we move. I highly agree with that. And also the beauty in having like different groups spread all around, right? And you just don't have one home, but you come back to many different senses of home. And I think there is beauty in that for sure. I love your fight towards access to knowledge, toward making knowledge accessible. And I see how this was a driving force, also coming from your personal experiences, to say, I'm going to continue in academia and I'm going to, like doing research, but also I'm going to educate and I'm going to teach. And, I'm going to make this education accessible for everyone because I know I know the different social levels that exist. I know the boundaries. I know how things are working, and I want to contribute. I found it really inspiring. So thank you for sharing such an amazing story. And now I think we can move on to music. Music, something that I always loved, and how beautiful that you also touch upon music. And so tell me, so music plays a role in your professional, but also personal life. So how does the world sound to you right now? And to what would you say we have to become more attuned?
Isabel, I mean, I'm more nostalgic in the last times. I mean, I hear a lot Brazilian music, although I love instrumental music. So I hear also lots of instrumental music that calms down, that helps me to relax, to turn my ideas off and to relax. But I would say it's pretty much Brazilian music that I hear at home. And music always played a role in my life. When I was a child, I used to play the piano. It didn't take long. I did it for maybe 4 years, and then for any reason I gave up. But I hear lots of music. I hear a lot. I remember my mom at home. She always had the radio on, so it was always playing something, and we were always singing something. And music was also very important in the identity. So I remember the different music styles that I heard in different phases of life because it was meaningful at that time. And now I would say it's important for me to hear music that maybe touch my soul, I'd say like that, that helps me to relax. I don't have this pressure of identity anymore, I think. So and these are moments maybe when I come back home, in this home where you're mentioning this home, or in the feeling home than the concrete home. But these are some music that I hear always. So that's what I have.
I love it. How music connects all of us and also connects to different memories, could be childhood memories, also could be music can connect us to future moments. Like when you were mentioning this, I want to feel relaxed. Then you're always like, I'm going to use through music, I'm gonna use music to reach that point. I find it beautiful. I share some similarities with you, dear Glaucia. I also started playing the piano when I was a kid. I stopped at some point also. And my mother also had the radio on a lot. And for me, when I'm here, and sometimes I feel homesick or I'm missing, these Spanish roots and so on. I turn on the radio, like the Spanish radio, and it brings me so much joy and
Mm.
such a nice memories that I keep doing that. So thank you.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to live in silence, although silence
Hmm.
is also important, right? We need to silence our minds. We need to have these breaks, I would say. But I would say music punctuated all phases of my life. So I really think it's part of me and part of life. We cannot separate ourselves from that. And yes, it's just like, yeah, part of my daily life, right? I cannot think of not hearing music, or not have something connected to that.
Lovely. I couldn't agree more, Glaucia. And okay, so now we are reaching the end of our interview. And to wrap up, like to conclude, I would like to ask you two things. One is to give us a letter to your future self. So if you have to say something to your future self, how do you see yourself in the future? Or like what would you say to that Claudia in the future now from the time that we are right now? What would you like to tell her? Or like what are you aspiring to?
Keep trying.
Keep trying.
Keep trying. I would say I don't know if I'm going to manage everything that I want, but I try and I keep trying. So that's it.
We are on the move. We keep moving.
Yes, yes. I mean, we have a lot of dreams. We have lots of inspirations and ideas and goals, and maybe we are never reaching them, but they makes us move, and I will keep trying. So
Our driving force.
yes.
Thank you. And one last thing. Uh, I would really love if you could leave a message to our community, and especially for those women who are also transitioning and moving between two countries and cultures. And also, as well, like that they are aiming to pursue an academic path. So, what would you say to them?
Isabel, maybe I would say there is a phase that we all live when we compare a lot, right? And I would say maybe in the beginning we compare a lot. Oh, in this country, oh, I used to do that, and here is different, and we tend to make hierarchies, right? Oh, this is better, this is worse, and so on. So I would say go through this phase, but bring it to an end, right? Enjoy what is the good part of the place where you're living, because there are many advantages where you are. It's not only thinking of the losses, but you always have good things where you are that can motivate you, support you. So find the strength to learn something new, to experience. Sometimes the ways are hard. It's not easy for anybody, but there are ways. And learn the language, go everywhere people invite you to go, learn how people do things, and learn. And I think I realize now, for example, when I go to Brazil, there's a kind of, I don't know, a change in my head. I am Brazilian there 100% of the time, that my mother makes always the joke, oh, that's the Glaucia I know, you're back. But when I'm German, something happens, and I'm just like living, following the rules from here. And I don't have problems with that. I don't have to take the rules from one place and take to the other. So if we get rid of this kind of pressure, I think we are more free to choose the pathways we want to follow, and never give up. Never give up. If the door is closed, there's another one. And never think the door is closed because you're not good enough. It's not true. Everybody's good enough for what they want to do. It's just that the importance is to find the right door. So if the door is closed, I'll say, accept that. This door is closed, I'll take another one. And this one is closed, I'll take another one, because there's one door for me. So I would keep looking for that. And maybe they discovered first that you're going to be unhappy there, right? So they close the door very soon. They say, no, she's going to be unhappy here. So keep looking and be curious and be open to the opportunities. There's always something for everyone, everywhere. Don't give up.
How beautiful what you said, dear Glaucia. Thank you for sharing that with us. We are going to become adept to switching roles, and we are going to keep moving forward. And I would like to say thank you once more for this. And thank you also to you, Ideli, for the opportunity to interview Glaucia for Guapalita. It has been an honor, and I feel really grateful to be here and being part of this.
Thank you so much. Wow, that was amazing. So fantastic. I enjoyed the talk and to learn more. Thank you, Isabel, and thank you, Glaucia, for sharing. You were describing your story, and I was running the film. In Duisburg. Oh my God, yes. Oh, totally. A2. I know. For me, Berlin is actually like another country. So, and I can imagine, yeah, how the situation was. I have, a couple of questions, and if you allow me, Isabel, I mean, just to ask a couple of
For sure.
to Glaucia, because when I was hearing all your message about global awareness, and I know that there are people who are, by their natural personality and their natural core, more humanistic, right? And more harmonical and more community oriented. and this is you, and you also, Isabel. I mean, it's like by nature there are people like that, but there are also the other side of the spectrum that I'm not saying is wrong or is good, but there are people that still need more time, maybe, to discover layer by layer what exactly that means. You might have an idea right now based on your career and since the moment that you started working with this concept of global awareness. Do you think that today is easier or is harder to develop that competency?
I cannot compare, Adeli. I don't know if I can compare. It's easier or more difficult, but I think as I experience in my courses, I would say I see people changing. I see. So I see in my courses, for example, when we start the course, we discuss the topics, and then we have now more often the final activity in the courses that students deliver reflection papers. And what they write there is sometimes make me almost cry, because they describe this changing process. When I started the course, I thought it was like this and like this, and it's let's say a very common sense idea they were describing, and then they say, but when I saw this, when I saw that, when I heard that particular lecture, when I got in touch with this group of students, when I did this exercise, and I realized that, and then they show some change. And so I believe that even if the person, if the people were not, let's say, so community oriented, they might find one or two opportunities to connect, and through that, it can grow. I think of course, there are some people that are taking more time to get open, but I think it's almost impossible not to be, how to say, touched by this force.
Yeah.
So they do it, and you don't have to force that. And I think that's what we do in our courses. We do the things, right? And we give space for people to develop, and they do.
Yes.
They do develop. If you force that, and you're taking their autonomy, right, and their freedom of choice to say what they want to do, and if we give let's say, the framework, and say, now you have at least here some space to develop this kind of competencies, or this kind of personal development traces and so on. So try to explore it for yourself, and let's see what you discover. And they discover.
Yeah. At the end, I mean, we cannot interfere in this development process because this is oneself's decision and responsibility. I mean, if the person wants to continue walking, moving at a different pace, well, it's their decision, right? We cannot interrupt. We cannot interrupt that, right? But you just mentioned something that they have to have this interaction with a community. Otherwise, without action, how is it possible, right, to click the aha reflection? So this collaboration competency, right, empathy, and not only empathy by saying I'm empathetic by understanding this, but I need to feel also somehow what is the situation occurring to understand. I mean, to have a full immersion, right? Or maybe a considerable immersion, and enough immersion to identify the meaning of that, right? So without this opportunity to connect with the community is hard. It's really hard. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. And thanks for the answer. And my second question is, do you think that this competency is more aligned to, I don't want to put you in a situation, in a sensitive situation, but do you think that this competency, global awareness, could be more aligned with some groups of cultures? I mean, there might be, as we belong to a specific culture, we might have a direct alignment or an easier alignment with a specific culture than another culture, right? Based on other roots and based on the way we were educated and other beliefs and all that. Do you think that maybe this can be like something that is more visible in some parts of the world than others, in a kind of general way, like a kind of like normative way, you know? Maybe some geographically speaking, maybe some parts of the world are more sensitive to this competency. What do you think about that?
I don't know, really. I don't know. I was just like watching the news today, and I saw the group of students from Vanuatu that got to bring the topic of accountability of rich countries as causing climate problems in their island to Hague, right? So it's being judged today, and so they have a real global awareness of what they are leaving, right? They are in an island, they are going to drown, and they are trying to protect themselves the way they can, and render accountability to those who are in charge. Although we say it's societies, right? You cannot say some people. So it's a very complex topic. But I don't know if there is this cultural affinity to these topics, because at least the way I understand, we are all affected by that, if you want or not. So some people are going to be affected by that and react negatively. Some others are suffering the negative consequences. Others are enjoying the positive side of that. But somehow we are all within this global force, I would say, or my colleagues say planetary forces. So yes, we cannot escape that completely. So we might have those maybe legitimizing some approaches. We might find those that are more rejecting some things, but I think everybody's is within this global phenomena that we are living. So that's why I would say nobody can have the preference seat in this plane. So everybody is able to talk about that. And that's what we are learning in our courses. I mean, we invite guest speakers from many different countries, although we know our network is always biased by our experiences. We try to go over our limits and find people in countries that we don't have contacts yet, and try to invite new people. And every time I have the opportunity to know more scholars, I go and do to have as plural voices in our courses as possible. Even I still have those that I don't agree with. Sometimes we get surprised. I mean, we get speakers and said, "Oh no!" But I would say, "Why not? Why not?" It's part of our openness to see and to hear what's going on, and so I wouldn't say there is parts of the world that have more openness to that than others. There are some maybe that are more self-conscious and self-confident in representing that. But I think everybody is somehow, I cannot think of a place that is not touched by transnational migration. There's no place that was not affected by COVID. There's no place that is not affected by climate change. So how you can be excluded from that. It's not possible. So I
Totally.
think that everybody somehow, and then of course you're going to deal with that with more openness or not. And
Yes.
then it's up to you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And today with the digitalization, I mean, people have access to all the information at glance, and they can just create a statement, yes, about what they see in combination with their core values, their beliefs, what they think is correct, is legal, is true, is empathetic, and maybe connecting with whatever they have experienced in their own region or in their family history. So everything is like running in another other pace, right? It's
Yeah.
like the information is coming so fast. The statements maybe are like easier or faster, right, to be reproduced, and the alignments are also inter blocks, no? So over or around the world, it's as you mentioned, right? It's difficult to accept that that there are regions that haven't been touched by all what is occurring. Yeah, I agree totally. Oh,
And
thank you so much. Yes,
and-
Glaucia.
but maybe I just want to add one point. Of course, ideally, I don't mean by that everybody's equal.
Yeah,
We say we have still power imbalances, we still have racism, we still have many problems and inequalities in our genocide. So we have concrete problems that are affecting lives, right? People are dying because of that. So it's not simply, but I just don't think that because of these different positions, some are more global than the others. I mean, everybody's as global as the others. And from that particular position, they can review some aspects of these global connections that are as valid as the positions of those in power that have more voice, right? So that's also the idea that we try to bring in our courses, to try to find the different voices, because some are very loud and very easy to hear, and some others are silenced. So we look for them and try to give equally space,
yes.
and let the students and our community, let's say, choose by themselves what
Yeah.
they want to hear more.
Now that you mentioned that, and it can come to my mind, I think that's something that I read in an article in this global awareness program, where they mention about the power of the community, the voice of the community that can be stronger than the one single authority or entity, that at the end is the community, the one that is like really speaking louder or stronger, and with the use of the proper tools, right, in this case the digital tools, everything can be vital, can become vital in a matter of seconds, right? So it's very interesting how the this development in combination community digitalization awareness coming from different channels, not only from the academical channel or site, also from the digital communication itself, from different industries, having different actors, and I'm saying actors from acting, I mean different actors from different industries sharing their own statements about a specific topic. I think that there's like more involvement. No, I mean it's not something that is reserved to a specific industry or to only international organizations. There are like more, there's like more involvement somehow, different industries participating either as a team or as individuals, right? So it's like there's no rules right now. I think that we can continue talking about all this for hours. for hours. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Glaucia, for sharing all this knowledge and for being today with us in spite of your agenda and summer coming and holidays preparation and all this. Thank you so much. And Isabel, once again, fantastic work. Thank you so much for collaborating with us. This is so amazing to have generations like you really with this awareness, with this global awareness of contributing and doing something, I mean, for the community, especially talking about the community and especially talking about sharing knowledge, which we consider is a must today, right? We don't have to keep it with us. And to all our community, we hope that you guys can take whatever is you consider important from this story, from this talk, and take it with you. Take it with you and for your learning, and also share the link of this interview, and be sure that if you have any other question, maybe you can also come back to us, maybe to come back to Isabel or to Glaucia. We can also share that information about their contact details, if you ladies agree, in case someone wants just to continue with the talk and with this communication beyond. So once again, thank you so much. And well, community, we see you in the next interview or whatever event we prepare for you. Thank you so much. Have a good day.